We reacted to Kendrick Lamar's new song, but we gotta see all the hidden messages.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you, Omar.
To get people hyped for his upcoming studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar just dropped the newest installment of his The Heart series. Songs that he's used since the start of his career to speak straight from the heart about the mind state that he's in, and themes that he's focused on, before releasing a new project. This time it's accompanied by a music video where Kendrick uses...
Let me shout out the channel. Thought right here. Make sure you check out my boy, you know what I mean? Good shit. He put together
fake technology to transform into multiple culturally influential black figures.
Anything.
Their hands are all over the album cover, and they're transformations that line up very intentionally with the lyrics of the track and tell a story of their own. Throughout the song, which samples Marvin Gaye on the chorus, Kendrick reflects on his role and responsibility as a cultural leader, trying to connect to people and create positive change, while also not speaking from a place of self-righteousness and privilege. He's not certain if he's doing enough or he's going about it in the right way. For example, the video starts with a quote from him claiming that he's all of us, that he identifies with and is motivated to help everybody, but even that is made uncertain by the period in the middle. What it really says is just, I am all of us. Later, when he raps that his consciousness is synchronized with others, the audio goes out of sync with his lips.
Oh, he breaking it down. Shout out to the boy, hold on.
Furthering this uncertainty. He tries to embody and take on all these different figures' perspectives, learning from and reconciling these differences that can't be ignored. But the central tension is that in reality, not everyone is on equal footing.
I did notice there was parts where the lips were off. I didn't say anything about that, but I didn't really think of it.
And this uncertainty, this fear that he can never do enough and really connect to the people from the position that he's at, lingers throughout the video. So he opens as himself, as Kendrick the artist, rapping not to us but to some audience in the distance about the struggles of Compton life as he's been doing his whole career, quickly becoming self-critical about his portrayal of violence. The fact that murder is talked about so freely and happens so often has desensitized people to it. Something that he feels like he's contributed to. He starts listing murder, betrayal, and recklessness as things that are just accepted because they've been written off as aspects of their culture, just the way things are. The chorus reveals Kendrick's relationship with the culture as an artist, needing its approval to solidify his platform and his influence, wanting the hood to want him back, and so feeding into its negativity and being the reason the culture is the way it is. He establishes his ties to a lineage of musical culture by referencing Jay-Z's Izzo with his opening lines in his second verse, and with this line he makes his first transformation into OJ Simpson, contrasting the descriptions of violence in the first verse with both him and OJ's inability to relate to that danger because of their privilege and status. OJ had a very...
Oh, this nigga... He getting one of those. This nigga break... Oh my God, you breaking it down different right now.
Very different relationship with the police.
I ain't never even... Listen, there's layers to this. And he may not even be 100% right on everything he's saying. Some of these may be reaches. But the fact that's why Kendrick is a GOAT. This is how you dissect the Kendrick song. You feel me?
Average black man because of his celebrity. And Kendrick doesn't face the danger of Compton shootouts because of his bulletproof Rover. The paradox is that he says he's making himself an example and an inspiration, showing that it is possible for someone to make it out. But he's not really helping anyone by doing that, because in reality, him and OJ's situation is so far removed from his audiences, this hope of safety doesn't apply to the people actually affected by the culture. He then morphs into Kanye when he says the word bipolar, leaning into his perspective, a billionaire who believes he can make real change with his money and lift people out of struggle financially. With this line, Kendrick suggests that what Kanye struggles with when it comes to this philosophy is not being able to trust the people around him, being surrounded by yes men, and being used by family and friends because of that money.
Okay. I did see the bipolar part, he switch up into that thing. I did notice that. But this man broke it down a whole different way.
Keeps Ye on the offensive, feeling like he needs to be the first to act and that he needs to act aggressively to keep his platform. This is what leads to his erratic behavior and distracting from the focus of helping people. And the work line being set by Kanye also felt like a reference to the college dropout song, Spaceship. Next, he morphs into Jussie Smollett, commenting on how people are motivated to play the victim just like he did because they're promoted for it. People are rewarded for saying that they've been through hardship, whether it's true or not. But what's really interesting is that Kendrick stays in this phase for when he describes his own struggle with processing Nipsey's death, describing a real tragedy while disguised as someone who's known for describing a fake one. Kendrick feels like a fraud feeding into the culture that allowed this to happen and then grieving over it, a feeling that he shared with us before in songs like The Blacker the Berry. The parallelism goes further with the fact that Nipsey's shooting is a tragic example of black-on-black violence, and the people who staged Jussie's attack were 2 Nigerian men he hired, not Trump supporters. The pain that Kendrick feels about Nipsey, the pain that this violence causes, isn't properly processed because nothing is done to reach a solution. It's drowned out in liquor, accepted as the way things are, reacted to with revenge and more violence, and downplayed until a breaking point is finally reached. Infidelity and disloyalty in relationships, another aspect of this culture, is ridiculed instead of recognized as a real problem. Kendrick transforms into Will when he says that anyone who's hurt by the culture deals with it by hurting others and continuing the cycle, like in the case.
I will say this nigga's voice though. Oh my God, now you breaking it down, Thought. Make sure you check out my man. But boy, do he sound like Eeyore. God damn, nigga, put some pep in your step. Wake up a little bit. This nigga talk like this. He's out dead. French fries, shrimp fry taters.
Case of Will slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars because he was hurt by Jada's humiliation. This gives new meaning to the chorus now too. Now you could imagine it as Will talking to Jada, wanting her to truly want him back, pointing to what he's done for her. What he's done for her though, what he's had to resort to, was violence. And Kendrick must feel the same way, trying to get the hood's approval by also resorting to violence. This is the struggle he faces and the source of his guilt about his message.
See, like I said, I'm not gonna agree with everything Son says, and this part up to this point, he's been saying a lot of. This is a little reachy. I don't know if he was really going that far out and that deeply into the Will Smith metaphor. Now, the thing about a writer like Kendrick is, he's Pulitzer Prize winner. It's gonna make people think in different ways. So there is really no wrong way to look at it. I just think I don't really look at the chorus as more Will talk. I think the metaphor of Will was the first half he said, and he was right.
Kendrick uses the final verse to reflect, speaking directly to us, breaking free of the culture, getting rid of the drums, and learning from some of his inspirations, Kobe and Nipsey, in figuring out how to best give back to people and move forward. He expresses deep love and care for the fans, his sacrifice and dedication to uplifting his people, but the intense pressure and responsibility he feels in his role as a leader to be doing the right thing all the time, a pressure that makes him suicidal. His music is being taught in schools, but that does nothing to keep him from being overwhelmed by the pressure to the point of wanting to die to make it end. He even takes on Nipsey's perspective, first imagining that maybe he was relieved when he got shot like Kendrick feels he would be, finally free of all this responsibility. But then he gets optimistic and emulates the work Nipsey did to strengthen his community and help people, admitting that he needs to fix his own flaws before he can fix what's around it, but recognizing that he has all these doubts but still wakes up with more to give us every day.
Yeah, I agree with him on this part, with the Nipsey part. It was pretty blatant with the Nipsey stuff. Man, Kendrick is... Shout out to Young.
And it's all he could do. Nipsey's approach to giving back, helping the people in his neighborhood, looking after local youth, preaching unity and respect, is something Kendrick hopes to emulate. By the end, he comes to the conclusion, while still embodying Nipsey, that his death may have been needed to bring about real change.
Don't forget I rock the stage with this man. Don't ever forget it.
Be made to the culture.
Try to throw that out there.
Kendrick carries on his energy through this tribute and speaks to that impact, letting us know the energy he's going into his final TDE album with, a project that's sure to have an impact of its own for years to come.
I can't wait, man. Oh my God, man. This album, man, oh man. Kendrick, we ready, man.